Hi, I'm Dr. Joseph Marbach. At Georgian Court University, we're committed to educating the public about the importance of higher education and its impact on our communities. That's why we're proud to support the important educational programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
Recognizing those who make a difference next on Caucus, New Jersey.
Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by RWJ Barnabas Health, the Fidelco Group, ADP, a comprehensive provider of human resources technology and services, Adler Aphasia Center, helping stroke and brain injury survivors recover their speech, the Northward Center, Georgian Court University, and by MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com, covering all NJ has to offer, and by hipnewjersey.com. Live hard, work hard, play hard. You're from New Jersey, and so are we.
Welcome to Caucus. I'm Steve Adubato. You know, over the last 20 years, the Russell Berrie Foundation has recognized the unsung heroes throughout the state of New Jersey who are making a big difference in their communities. Here today to discuss the importance of giving back and serving your community, we're joined by our good friend, Angelica Berrie, president of the Russell Berrie Foundation. Zamir Hassan, founder of Muslims Against Hunger, Central New Jersey. Robert Clark, founder and executive director of YouthBuild Newark. And finally, Alysia Souder, I got that right, executive director of the Institute of Music for Children. Let's get to why we are here. Even though we've done a version of this program, by the way, you're going to find the website up for the foundation throughout this program. Check this foundation out. It is making a difference every day and recognizing great people. And by the way, just a few weeks ago, in the context of taping this program, we had our 21st, was it?
21st.
21st award ceremony, making a difference. Could you please, Angelica, put into the context and assume that people have never seen us do this program before? What is this event? Who do we recognize? And I'm honored to moderate it, to host it. And why do we recognize these folks?
Well, over 21 years, Steve, we've had people who make a difference in 21 different communities in New Jersey. Over 2,900, almost 3,000 nominees, and that's a very powerful network for change. Change agents working together, working separately, creating a platform that really will make a difference in terms of impact in New Jersey.
How did it start?
Started with my husband's dream. My husband had this idea that the news, my husband Russ Berrie, had this idea that the news was always focused on negative things, and we don't shine a spotlight on people who make a difference in their very small but meaningful ways. And we found out that all these small gestures have such large impact in our community. So it's been a very rewarding journey, 21 years of doing good.
How many, before we introduce everyone and give you a chance to tell your story, to talk about the work you do, the people you impact, and the awards themselves, how many people have been recognized over these 21 years? 2,900
nominees, but every one of them is worthy of the prize. I think selecting it is hard, but we've had 2,900. It's a lot of people.
And hundreds have been recognized.
Hundreds, yeah.
It's extraordinary. So let's take this, Robert. You are dealing with disadvantaged youth. These young people are in the city of Newark.
Yes.
YouthBuild is?
YouthBuild Newark is a program designed to really support and develop the potential of young people to be the energy that actually transforms communities. Our belief is that young people are the greatest resources available to the survival of any community. And by sort of creating opportunities for them to sort of have second chances, to finish high school, to earn a trade, to get a job, not only gives them sort of dignity and helps them do something that many of them leave school wanting to do, which is to contribute to their families, which is to help their parents not be poor. that in and of itself helps these young people contribute to the community, but also become better parents and seen as part of the solution in communities, not a deficit.
Real quick on this. One example of how you do that.
One example. I could give you many, Steve.
Pick one that you say, you know what, this one thing we do makes a big difference because that's what got you recognized.
Belief. Belief in the potential of young people to do well, to do good. Expecting that they will do well and do good. Not expecting that they will fail and be problems to be solved. But they are the sources of hope for themselves and their families and for their communities.
But it's also unique in that it works with dropouts, and I think that that's the unique value. You can transform the path and the direction of these kids.
Talk about that. These kids drop out, they lose hope. They don't see what is ahead of them in a positive way. Your organization says what to them, does what for them?
So our organization, one, as just a foundation, believes that young people can change, believes that young people want to do well. We've found that many young people, although they drop out of school for often very noble reasons, right? They want to earn money. They want to get a job. They want to be better parents. Many young people are parents prematurely.
They want to help their families.
They want to help their families. And the enemy here that we're combating is not the young people. It's poverty. Poverty forces people to do, unthinkable things that they often feel bad about. We give young people an opportunity to sort of restore, right, their relationship with their community, their relationship with their families, and often just heal, develop sort of competencies and confidence that allows them to contribute. And we believe that Newark is better for that and New Jersey is better for that.
Before I move on, why do you do what you do to make a difference every day? Why?
Somebody did it for me.
There you go.
Many years ago, I was not much different than the young people who we serve today. Dropped out of high school, made some questionable choices, but YouthBuild Boston gave me an opportunity to restore my relationship with my community. But it also gave me a voice. It also helped me understand that what I was experiencing, thousands of young people around the country and the world were experiencing.
Yeah.
But also a high rate of success, Steve. I mean, I feel like a salesperson here.
No, you're not a salesperson, you just know a lot.
A high rate of success and a very low rate of recidivism. I think that's important to point out, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's
83%.
83% graduation rate. We have a less than 7% recidivism rate for young people that go through our program. And that's not, just because of the program. It's the young people. The potential is there.
Yeah.
We've just got to create the opportunities.
As we move forward, I don't know why. You ever see these stones that people have? My producer's like, what's he doing now? Look at these stones. One of them says breathe. The other one says peace. The other one says be nice to your kids. I ignore that sometimes. This one, you can't see it from far away. What does it say?
Pay it forward.
I don't know why I picked this one. It says pay it forward.
That's a great one.
And I don't even know why. I was listening to you. That means something to you?
It means everything to me.
That's what you just said. So in some ways, Angelica talks about this all the time. What do we owe? What do we owe? So your story, Alysia. Talk about your organization, talk about those you serve, and then I'm going to ask you, why do you do what you do to make such a difference? Go ahead.
Well, we are a community of children, of parents, of arts educators that are coming together to experience and interact with the arts in a whole new way. And so what we look like is a community arts school, but what we are is really a place, it's a second home. It's a place where children can come and grow up and parents can feel that their children are safe, but not only their children, that they are safe, that there are opportunities for them as well to learn, to be a part of something bigger. I talk about the fact that nowadays neighborhoods are different than they were when I grew up, where your neighbors knew who you were and they knew what the good things you did as well as try to keep you out of trouble. And that's what we are. We're a surrogate neighborhood that's that knows our kids, that teaches them, but also just and we're doing art all the time. We have instrumental music, so we do guitar, piano, drums, violin, singing, acting, dancing. We even have culinary arts and filmmaking.
What does it do for these kids?
It changes them. It gives them confidence. It gives them a way to express themselves. It gives them, it accesses their talent base. You know, so many children don't even realize how talented and creative they are, because all children are creative. It's just finding which way, which mechanism are.
And the quality of life later on because of this?
I mean, we're seeing, you know, we have a youth leadership program where teens are mentored and they work with us and are employed through us. And we have a 95% college entry rate.
So they're more likely to go to college because of what you're doing.
Absolutely. Their grades are higher. We get time and time again, parents are saying, my child's been struggling in school. Now their grades have increased tremendously. We're seeing kids that have gone through bullying, that have other learning disabilities, that are able to transform that and really feel better about who they are.
Why do you do what you do?
Wow, because I grew up in a town, Montclair, where I was surrounded by arts, and it really made me who I am. I got to see how it helped my brother who struggled with dyslexia and bullying, how it transformed him as well. I have no choice but to do arts. I tried to not, and it just pulled me back. And
by the way, winning the award,
yes.
What did it mean?
It changed our ability to interact with the public. We're sort of a hidden gem, and no one knew about us. And so getting this spotlight has really opened people's eyes to the work that we're doing.
I'll come back to you in a second. Zamir, your organization, Muslims Against Hunger, what is it?
I need to tell you a little background how this whole thing started. I was born in northern India, grew up in Pakistan. And 45 years ago, I came to US to go to grad school. And I was in IT before IT existed. So you can see how well I was doing, part of American dream. And year 2000, I go to a soup kitchen, first time in my life, as a chaperone to my son's school. And this is one of the richest community in New Jersey. And we fed like 200 people. And I said to myself, wow, they live in my backyard and I don't even know they exist? So I started talking to my little congregation, and everybody said the same thing. What are you talking about? We live in the richest country on the planet. And so can you bring us there? And my community is, in my tradition, I'm not supposed to go to bed if my neighbor is hungry. And it's a new community, new immigrant community. So they are all thinking the poor live somewhere else. And as part of our tradition, we have to give every year X number of dollars for charity. And what we have been doing, we'll just send a check from, India and Pakistan and Egypt and Africa, wherever we came from. So this became a challenge to me, where I said to myself, I was ignorant. I didn't know these people exist.
So you created this organization in your own community.
So we started, when I was talking in my own community, people were saying, what are you talking about? Can you show us? So I put together a group, brought them to the soup kitchen, and everybody's jaws dropped, because we live in silos.
That's right.
So now I'm doing this for like 5 years. And in the year 2005, Burkan Record was doing a story on impact of 9/11 on Muslims. So this journalist calls me up, somehow finds my phone number, and talked to me what we are doing, and so on and so forth. And then he says, what is your organization called? We didn't have any name.
You didn't have a name.
So I said, Muslims Against Hunger. So I made one up. and he says...
So much for branding.
Yeah. So, by the way, I'm a business and IT guy, so I'm good and quick on that stuff. So then he said, do you have a website? And there was no Facebook those days, by the way.
Right.
So I said, yes, we have a website coming soon. And I got off the phone and called one of the guys who worked for me, hey, I need a website. And he said, what do you want to call it? And I said, Muslims Against Hunger. I just named it. So that's how the program started.
I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah.
I have to go through a break right here. But fast forward, you create this organization. You get acknowledged by the foundation. We'll come back after this break and talk more about it. But all of you, the one thing I'm picking up is you had to do this. You had to. You chose to.
Calling.
It's a calling. We'll talk about that calling. We'll talk about collaboration. And we'll also have Angelica talk about the fact that she expects more right after this.
To see more Caucus New Jersey with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Making a difference. That's what we're talking about with 4 very special people doing it every day. Angelica, along with everyone else watching us, you're listening. You and I have heard these stories before, maybe not these in particular. What are you feeling and thinking right now?
Well, first of all, there's something in common that they've said, that they saw something, that they saw a need that may have been invisible. They may have seen people who were invisible to others. And I think that act of seeing is what transforms us and sets us on our journey to give. And so I think we too can learn from that. How do you see your neighbor? How do you see people in your own backyard? And to go out of our comfort zone, to go visit the homeless, to go see people in a feeding program. I mean, it's not something we do because it's not a comfortable thing.
Talk about that. That's a theme that you talk about a lot, quote, going out of your comfort zone. You've challenged many of the winners of the Berrie Award for Making a Difference to, quote, go out of their comfort zone. They're doing extraordinary things already. You say go out of your comfort zone. What do you mean by that?
I think that people, whether they're leaders in community or givers in community, have to go beyond. We live in a bubble, Like, it's not just because we have wealth, but we just have such busy lives. But to step outside and to be able to make a difference, you need to be able to get out of yourself. And it's hard. You have to earn a living. You have to do a lot of things. And so...
Feed your family.
Yeah, so this is a time when we have to be more active than ever. And so I challenge people to run for office.
To actually run for office?
To make a difference, to go out there and change the system. You've got all the knowledge of what the grassroots really need from the bottom up. And there's a lot of decisions in government that are being made from the top down. And it's people like you who have this kind of a potential to change the system.
And I just wanted to add that maybe not everyone's going to start an organization, but I think it's so important that people give locally. So often people donate to large national organizations, and they're not looking at who's in their backyard, who's doing this work that's changing their own communities, and how important it is for people to contribute in that way as well.
And advocacy as well, just to be the voice for the community and for those who are not heard and not seen.
Talk about that in this sense. I'm a student of leadership. I think about it a lot, and every one of you are leaders in your own right because you took a situation, you chose to seize it and not just complain about it, but do something about it. But to Angelica's point, getting outside your comfort zone, you already are outside your comfort zone to some extent, but Angelica's saying, all right, collaborate with each other, organize, and then start talking about policy. Not just where you are, but take the experiences you've had, the reasons why you're recognized by this great foundation, and then say, all right, how do we scale this, if you will?
Collective impact.
Yeah, have a greater impact. Do you sit there and go, it's not me?
No, Steve, that's the opposite of what I do. Quite honestly, what we've been doing as an organization is really sort of asking ourselves annually, like, what are we learning? What are we learning that we can teach other folks? And recently in Newark, we've been supported by the superintendent, the mayor, the Rutgers University chancellor, in a very deliberative collective impact process for us to begin to think about what are we learning serving this demographic that we could scale in other places, right? So it's not just enough for YouthBuild Newark to be a good organization. I want La Casa de Don Pedro to be a good organization.
Which is another nonprofit in my old neighborhood, the North Ward. You want to take the best practice you've learned
and scale them in other organizations.
I mean, replicate them.
Replicate them and continue to learn as a community so that we can serve more young people.
Why do you feel a responsibility to do that?
Because it's not just enough for us to be successful as an organization. We have to be successful as a community.
So the desire to make a difference, it's interesting, 21 years at this, right? You're saying, all right, we recognize these individual extraordinary people, over 2,000 have been nominated, right? You're saying, all right, that's wonderful, and we'll continue to do that, but we expect you to be the kind of leaders that take what you've learned and share it with others and have a greater impact in a slightly different way?
We went from individual heroes to understanding that we are who we are because of who we all are. I talked about this African spirit of Ubuntu, which is the community spirit, right? This is really what we're doing by sharing, by caring, and creating a bigger platform.
And sometimes sharing, it's interesting, one of the things I've seen with the people who have won the award is that they start talking to each other and collaborating, and all of a sudden, 2 years later, there's a new initiative that has been created because one winner talked to another winner, and now they have this new thing going on.
Well, two people who were at your show, at the green room, were making a deal. And they made a deal, and they came up with something that was terrific. Eric Fuchs-Stengel.
Yeah, Eric's doing environmental stuff.
And the person who did the equestrian initiative.
Yes.
Remember, they were sitting waiting for Steve to interview them, and they decided, hey, I have some land. Hey, I need some land to grow some things, and that was it, you know.
And that's sometimes getting outside your comfort zone, because all of us who run nonprofits, no secret out there, our number one priority other than doing good work?
Taking care of ourselves, survival.
No money, no mission?
No money, no
is fundraising. So if you sit there, if I'm talking to somebody else who's running a nonprofit, he or she might cut into my base. I'm not cannibalizing so that's our first thinking. Angelica's saying, no.
There's this generosity among yourselves that
which is real leadership too.
Yeah.
You know, what I have found with the other nonprofits working, they have always helped us because they see our work, because what we are trying to do, create volunteer communities.
Exactly.
And the feeding the people is a byproduct of our work. And we have replicated this in 20 different cities. And we have programs now in 5 different countries. We have program in Canada. We have program in Nigeria. We have program in India. And Israel, I'm moving forward with that program also. So it's not, to me, I had a good life, part of the American dream. It's time to give back and share. Because one thing, we have 49 million people in the United States who do not know where to get their next meal from. This should not be acceptable. It should not be acceptable. And one thing I found out that realized myself that it cannot be solved because there is a lot of money coming from top down, but it disappears in the middle. So it has to be bottom up. It has to be, we have to get involved at the grassroots level. That's the only way we can solve the hunger problem.
By the way, as I was listening to you, Zamir, you said you've done very well in your professional life and you feel a responsibility to make a difference. As I think of Russ, who, what an impact he had. I don't know if Russ ever said this, but you can't take it with you, but I will say this. Russ was so incredibly successful as a business professional. Russ always said at some point, and obviously he had these conversations with you, like, let's do something with this money that we made and make it as a philanthropist.
But too, you're talking about paying it forward, just like you just pulled out that stone. That's really what everyone who has an opportunity to do, regardless of our means, we can pay it forward.
You don't have to be a wealthy philanthropist.
You don't have to write $1 million check to be a philanthropist. And every person who's nominated for the prize makes an incredible difference.
And those who have talent in music, those who have the passion, you feel it. You have to give back. And last question to you is, what do you see in the young people you help every day?
I see
30 seconds, go.
spirit, that when you can connect to a child on a deep level, and that happens the most effectively through the arts and through involvement in the arts, that it unleashes their potential and their possibility in the way they see the world. And I believe the arts is the most powerful tool for change, development, and for extraordinary, and for being capable of success.
For possibility.
Yes, for possibility.
I cannot thank you all enough. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by RWJ Barnabas Health, the Fidelco Group, ADP, Adler Aphasia Center, the North Ward Center, Georgian Court University, and by MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.
Hi, I'm Eric. You might see me as an ordinary person, but I've been living with a brain injury for nearly 2 years. One of my struggles is short-term memory loss. At Opportunity Project, I'm given hope and support, and I've gained my confidence back through the job placement program. Despite my challenges, I have a reason to keep improving. Today, even though life has changed me, I believe that anything is possible.
If you have a brain injury, you don't have to face your road to recovery alone.